of Isaac and the God of Jacob. I believe in the God of Israel. I believe in one God. I believe that Christ was manifest in the flesh as one God. Like the old Israel who painted lamb's blood on their doorposts, I believe that Christ is my true lamb, and his blood has been painted upon me. I believe that the same God of Israel will protect me from all evils and sicknesses of this world, and I'll do my best to keep the laws, the statutes, and the commandments. I believe that my Messiah died for my sins. I believe that he raised from the dead, and I believe that he will come again to judge the whole house of Israel. I believe that my God has created the heavens and the earth and everything upon it. I believe in one God who is holy and righteous. I believe that the God of Israel is my Father. There is only one God. There is only one God of Israel. I will give my whole soul, body, and spirit to the one God of Israel. For he is righteous, and he is my Father. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one Lord, Selah and Selah. Amen. Well, good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. Welcome to AIJ TV, here as part of the Israelite Nation Worldwide Ministries. Welcome. I said welcome. Thank you very much. I should let you know, everyone, that we are live today. So the experience that you're experiencing right now, it is a live event, and we want to make this as interactive as possible. I am Elder Freddie. Besides me is my nephew. You can introduce yourself.
My name is Ezekiel. That's it.
And welcome, everyone. Welcome. I am honored to be here today, and as always, it's such a great thing to see everyone's face. I hope that you're not nervous today.
Who's nervous?
Okay,
Who's
good
nervous?
stuff. It's a little bit different format, based off of the feedback that we've been getting. Everyone likes this format. There are no complaints. It gives you a little bit more, personal touch.
A lot of intimacy.
Yes.
100%.
Which is always good. Lets everybody let their hair down. So for those that are out there in cyberspace, don't forget to like, subscribe, share, put your comments in, and also your questions. Put your questions in, because the topic today that we're going to be dealing with,
Christianity versus the Bible.
Indeed.
It's been a long time coming.
It has been.
It's been a long time coming. And on my behalf, sorry, before.
Go right ahead. Go right ahead.
It's such a huge honor for me to be up here with Elder Freddie. Like, I feel like a small man among giants. It's crazy. But I'm grateful to be here. I'm so happy to tackle this subject. There's so many ways to look at this: Christianity versus the Bible, the lie versus the truth, the Autobots versus the Decepticons versus the Autobots.
Yes.
There's so many ways to look at this.
There are. And I know that it might seem to a lot of us that this is something that we might have covered before or maybe even dived into. But for some of us that are out there, you might not be aware as to, how in-depth this subject matter really goes. So I'm going to start off. This, by the way, is completely unscripted. There's no script involved here.
Nope.
We're just basically going off of a subject matter that came up, and I was kind of like almost pulling teeth to get him to come up with a subject matter, but he kept throwing it back at me, so I said, okay, you know what? We'll give it until noon. If we don't have something by noon, I'll come up with something. So we came up with the Bible versus Christianity. So before we actually get into it, I wanted to throw a question out there. And this is for the brethren and the guests that are here, and also for those that are out there in cyberspace. The question that I wanted to throw out was simply this. Andrew, for example, what comes to mind? What's the first thing that comes to your mind when you think of the word, the Bible?
Holy book.
Holy book? Anyone else? Israel, huh? Come on now. Okay, let me put it this way. Before you came into Israel and you thought of this here, or the word, what was the first thing that came to your mind?
White Jesus, yeah?
Jesus/God was the first thing that came to your mind?
Yeah.
Anyone else?
Christianity.
Now, Christianity is not something that you would have thought of. You wouldn't have thought of that word, Christianity. This is post Israel. I'm talking about prior to you knowing anything about what this book was about or anything at all. What pops into your mind? Is there a vision? Is there something that you see when you think of the Bible?
The Last Supper picture.
The picture? Okay. 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 You see, this is all.
You know, I'm so glad I can't relate. You know, I know, man, my deepest condolences. I'm so sorry you have to go through that.
Isn't that something?
I can't relate.
Isn't that something?
All. I think someone said blonde hair, blue eye, white Jesus.
Okay.
Right? Wow.
Korean, how about you? When you think of the word the Bible, what's the first thing that comes to your mind?
Creation.
Say again?
Creation.
Creation? Okay. That's all very interesting. I like that. Lorleen. How you doing? When the word the Bible comes to mind, what's the first thing you think about?
You put me on this.
Yes.
When the word.
The Bible.
Is a book about
What's the first thing that comes to mind? Just say it. What do you see? What do you
the
see?
Word of God.
The Word of God?
Yeah.
Okay. The reason why I asked that question, Patricia, I see you pondering, but what do you think?
Moses and his people.
Moses and his people? Okay.
I always feel afraid.
Okay.
Yeah, I always feel afraid.
Guys, wait for the microphone to come to you.
Okay. Anyone else? Dana, what do you think?
Wait for the mic.
Wait, Dana. Excuse me.
The first thing that I think about is Adam and Eve, the apple. When you think of the Bible, it pops into my head. It's not that I see it,
Getting some feedback on that mic there.
but that's just what I think about.
Okay.
An apple, huh?
This is all quite interesting. Personally, whenever I would, and this even holds true to today, whenever I think, like certain things pop into my mind, and I see somebody standing. He's usually it's a male person. He's usually in black, but I see someone talking with authority, but yet at the same time, that person, to me, is like the person is hiding something, and then it transitions because I get a feeling like when I think of the Bible, like for me personally, it's like there's something that draws me to it, and it's almost inexplicable, but there's a gravity that pulls me towards it, and I feel the feeling that I get from it is I feel comforted whenever I think of it. So it might be different for everyone else. So I just wanted to see, like, if it brings you back. Do you think of a moment in your childhood where you either see it or have someone with it, or were you in a place where it was? Did you have a good experience? Did you have a bad experience? I mean, there's no right or wrong answer to this. It's just for me to kind of see what comes to mind, because we all had a life before, right? We all had a life before we were here, before we knew that we were Israelites, before we understood. So, it's just a thought. Yes.
I just thought of church.
Okay.
Because that's the only time, as when you're young, the only time you really see the Bible is funeral or church.
Okay.
And nothing really resonated because you're not really thinking about God or anything like that when you're that young. But the only thing you think about is, oh my gosh, is church. Plus, my parents wasn't religious, but every Sunday, the Bible comes out for church.
Okay.
And that's about it.
Okay. Officer Doreen, What comes to your mind?
When I think of the Bible,
Yeah, if somebody says Bible, what's your reflex? What comes to mind?
like right now.
Before Israel.
Before Israel.
Yeah.
Oh, before Israel. Geez, that was the furthest thing from my mind before Israel. Oh, I know. Mine used to be the white man's book.
Okay. Colin?
My answer was something is wrong with this book because everybody's using it and talking so many different stuff.
Okay.
So I reach a point where I think this book is where the problem is.
Okay. Okay. Elder Val?
No, there was one more. Before Elder.
And that it's been tampered with.
Okay. Well, that's post. That's post. Before Israel? Oh wow. Okay. You can kind of tell, even like the generation based off of some of the answers that people give. Like I said, there's no wrong or right answer. It's just for me to see, where you're coming from, or what your experiences might have been. Elder Val.
Yeah, growing up, I never really think of anything else than it's a holy book, and once you read it, you will get holy.
Enlightenment, yeah.
Okay.
That's what
Okay.
it is,
Okay.
You know, so
Yes. Is there someone else?
Yeah, now that I've thought of it, it was Sunday school.
Okay.
You had to go to Sunday school, you had to learn Isaiah 53 by heart, you had to learn Psalms 23 by heart, you had to learn all these things by heart.
Okay.
I learned the books of the Bible, from Genesis to Revelation, you needed to learn it. So now that I think of it, when I think of the Bible, that's what I thought of.
Okay.
Sunday school and learning all these things.
And how did you feel? Like, what was your emotion at the time, the feeling that you had?
Well, I was excited to learn it because I thought it was kind of interesting, learning these things, it was kind of interesting. But then you start, as you get a bit older, you start seeing the behaviors of the people is different from what they do.
Well, that's different. So, Jermaine and then Dana.
I think she's having premonitions.
I know. I have a feeling that Jermaine was one of those guys that was forced to go to church. and
Well, pretty much, yes. Forced to go. Not forced to go, but you got to go where your parents going. When I think of the Bible back then, I got to agree with Elder Val. You just think of it like as a holy book, and if you read it, you're holy.
Okay. All right. Elder Harriet, what came to your mind? I'll get to you, Dana. I know.
The holy book we had to read at nights. Like, my parents would choose whatever chapter.
Right.
Most of the time a psalm, and you have to read it. Get into trouble if you make mistakes pronouncing the words. So you figure it's something you need to do.
Okay.
And it would bring you closer to Jesus.
Okay. Thank you. Dana, finally. Finally, Dana.
She's having flashbacks.
Okay, so after hearing everybody,
You see, this part of the exercise was just your reflex.
Yeah.
Right? So
And
now Dana's kind of cheated.
No,
so
no, it's
for
not
those
even
for
that.
those that one moment. For those that are out there in Cyberland, if anyone is picking up any of the feed of the comments, please make a comment and let us know what came to mind when you first heard or thought of the word Bible, the Bible. But go ahead, Dana.
All right. So, growing up, I honestly stayed away from it. Like, it was boring. It made me want to sleep. I didn't understand it. It was almost like a burden. Like, when I heard church, I was like, oh gosh, no.
Okay,
I don't
so
want
you thought burdensome.
I really did.
Okay.
I didn't want to.
Understood. I just wanted to see, because it gives us a lot in terms of our lives and how we grew up. Yes, are there any comments? What do we got there?
Someone said God in the comments.
Okay.
Or also said Christian book.
Okay.
Also life and God's word.
Okay. These are all, it's all very, for me, it's very interesting to get the feedback, because the next question I want to ask is, what comes to mind when you think of the word Christianity?
You want me to go first?
You're excluded from all of this. You're excluded. Imagine having a life like this. Imagine having a life like this, then all the days of your life, you've never eaten anything common or unclean, never participated in anything unholy, no unholy days, being circumcised and named and offered up on the 8th day of your life. My goodness. Ezekiel?
Hey man, what can I say?
Well, you could thank your mom and your
100%,
dad for
100%.
adhering.
Very grateful over here.
Very grateful for hearing the word from Elder Shadrach, who introduced your parents to the God of Israel, and then for you to be raised up in this culture. That is absolutely fantastic. Not like most of us here. We're old brock, as they would say, right? I mean, we're old silverback, some of us. Tainted, tattered, torn, bruised, beaten, broken.
Wow.
Stitched back together and somehow salvageable, right? And here we are today trying our very best to lay the groundwork for a better future for our people. This is what we hope to accomplish and achieve when we see our young women and our young men growing up the way that you are. So kudos to you.
I appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you to the God of Israel, man.
Amen to that. So again, what comes to mind when you think of the word Christianity?
Before Israel, I thought Christianity meant followers of Christ, because that's what they told me.
Right. Did you even know what the word Christianity meant, or did you more so know what Christian meant?
I just know what they told me it meant, which was followers of Christ.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I didn't know, really.
Anyone else? Either or. When the word Christianity comes to mind, what is the first thing? Christianity. What comes to mind? Okay. Okay.
Christianity, usually it means like you're godly or holy, when I
Okay.
would think of that. And also I used to hear it referred in phrases, because I'm a Christian, I go to church and I'm good. It was just like association with good.
Right.
They always put it in a phrase.
But as you said, Officer Doreen, your thing was like, you know what? You never really associated. You thought that it was just a book that was utilized.
In my teenager years, when I got
Okay.
into conspiracy theories.
Yeah. No, but that's interesting. Like I said, there is no wrong or right answer. This is just.
But as a
your
child
experience.
growing up, it was always referred in a phrase like I'm a good Christian, or I go to church, I'm a Christian. It was, and even still now, people still say it.
Okay.
And if you're, someone else heard, if you're not a Christian, then you're not of God.
Elder,
Or you're not going to heaven. That was another popular one.
Elder, is that what they beat into you, Elder? That if you're not a Christian, you're not of God? Yeah? Yeah? Okay. Andrew, how about you, sir? Yes.
Okay, I was rebellious as a child growing up when it comes down to church. So for me, Christianity meant bondage.
Okay. I appreciate the honesty. I do. I appreciate the honesty.
Well, I must say, before Israel, when I thought about Christianity, it was all about speaking in tongues. That's all I could think of.
Okay. So you had aspirations of speaking in tongues.
Wow.
So, I mean, hey, well, if you see it done, sometimes you just, the theatrics of it would make you want to, like, wow, I wish I could speak in tongues. To the point where we'll get into it a little bit.
So the first thing that comes to my mind when I think of Christianity is I think of the symbol of death, which is the
Oh,
cross.
come on now. Come on. Come on. Come on. we need some people who have had some old wine in them.
Okay.
Come on.
Some old wine.
You can't come with that now.
Yes. So
Jesse's what, like 13?
That was a good response.
14?
So my thought was, because I remember thinking it, Christians, old people with a hat, they're always telling you something, because if you're a Caribbean child, they're always telling you about something. I just did it. Like, they're just always on you. And the socks pulled up to a certain spot. The dress code was different. And they're just very godly.
Okay.
That's it. You could tell a Christian. It was never a young people thing. It was by force. And it was by force. Your grandparents. So it was always by force.
Okay.
Harriet says partying.
I don't know where Matthew is going, because Matthew is extremely young.
He used to be a Christian, I think.
Yes,
For
Harriet.
me, I was forced to go to church from the time I was small, so I never did like it, period. So I knew, and my grandfather was a sexton of the church, so he took care of the church and all that. And I had to do all that, so I despised churches. So when I get older, what I did was strictly partying. And I said to myself, maybe before I die, I'm going to then go back to church. But other than that, it's all about partying for me, right? Period.
How did your plan work out, by the way? Okay. Okay, one last one. We'll take Matthew.
Okay, so although I was pretty much born in this nation, I always saw Christians as confused.
No. Remember what I said? The word Christianity. I'm very specific as to what comes to mind when you think of the word Christianity.
Confusion, then.
Yeah.
Confusion.
Okay. I don't know about you guys. Well, whenever
There's so many things
Say
that come
again,
to
here,
mind.
Elder Harriet? That's all I thought.
Jesus.
Soon as I hear the word Christianity, I think Jesus. That's all. Because that's all. At least the people that I've encountered, that's all they know. Just the one word. It's the cure-all for everything. You stumped your toe, Jesus. You win some money, Jesus. You sneeze, Jesus.
You sound like a Nigerian, man.
Jesus.
There's some more here, Elder Freddie.
Yes.
Someone thought big hypocrites.
Yeah.
I thought of white Jesus in hell.
Mm-hmm.
Someone said pagan.
Mm-hmm.
Crosses.
Mm-hmm.
Having a cross.
Uh-huh.
You didn't quarrel, deception. And then again, I heard someone say tongues. And I remember people would say, if you didn't speak in tongues, you weren't holy.
Right.
And you can't be of God. You're not a Holy Ghost. And then one more, when you think of Christianity, Elder Sophie brought this back to mind. Yes, the big brim hats and the dresses and the purse, and you looked away, and you can never go. You cannot go, even as a child, unless you had a little brown envelope with your 1 cent, 2 cent, 5 cent, $5, $1 Yes, your offering.
Okay. Now. This is.
I have a lot of old wine. I had. Christianity was the truth.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You see? Thank you very much for your honesty. Thank you for your honesty.
Before Israel, I used to wonder, if Christianity is so big, why do the KKK burn crosses?
Okay. All right. So I'm hearing a lot of I'm hearing a lot of comments that are coming from brethren and guests that's post-Israel. Because before Israel, maybe apart from maybe Andrew, and maybe even Colin, but most of us thought that it was pretty decent, right? That to be a Christian meant that you were, a really good person. And that's just being honest. I mean, that's what it was for us to have some sort of standard. You know what I mean? In case you didn't know, that's how it was back then.
I had no idea.
But for those of us that rebelled somewhat, that were forced to go, that didn't want to go, we looked at those people as like do-gooders, like always trying to be the perfect person. And it's just as you grow up and as you experience life, and then if you happen to somehow be connected to or part of this nation, you get a completely different perspective altogether. But just to think of it, just that one thing that came to mind was just Jesus. And when that comes to mind, when the Jesus comes to mind, automatically I see the guy with the long hair and the beard, the girlish looking guy, the white girlish looking guy. And until this day, the image
powerful
cannot leave my mind.
Powerful.
Cannot. As much as I know and understand that Jesus looked like this guy here sitting beside me, looked like my nephew sitting beside me, looked like my uncles, looked like my elder, looked like my nephews. As much as I know and understand that, I can't get the image of that thing out of my mind.
Powerful propaganda.
Oh,
Powerful.
it's
everywhere.
It's so beyond. So it's just for us to know what it is and the power that we're up against.
Just even add to that, because growing up, although I was born in the nation, it's everywhere. Like even TV shows, you watch Family Guy, American Dad, anything, you see him. He's right there.
Yeah, and for those old heads who don't know, Family Guy, American Dad.
Yeah.
These are animated. This is animated like cartoons that the children watch. So just so that we know. And even in the cartoons,
he's same thing.
It's just you don't know who this person is or what this person is. You just see that image. And with that, we're gonna go through a couple things here. And we've got some notes. And we're going to go through this just a little bit before we get into a lot of it. But just some notes on the Bible in case nobody understood or really, had an inclination as to what happened. So the Bible itself, it came about being translated into English. So prior to it being in English, in the year in the 300s, the first quote-unquote Christians arrived in Britain. So this is roughly 300 years. 300 years after the death of Jesus, the Christ, in the Bible. So if you can just wrap your head around that, 300 years after he died, the first quote-unquote Christians went to Britain, Ireland, England, 300 years after he died. Yes. Because he was born roughly about, they say that's where they start time from. So in this modern era. So 300 years after his death. You guys realize, like what, 100 years? Was anyone alive 100 years ago, by the way? No one here. So nobody here knows what it's like to be in Toronto, Canada, 100 years ago. No, right? 100 years ago, there was no internet. 100 years ago, there were no cars. 100 years ago, no cars, no bus. So just imagine how you would get around. Just 100 years ago. Here. So 300 years after Jesus died, quote unquote, Christianity made its way to the island of England, which we know as Britain. That's okay. Just gather that. So in the 400s, the Anglo-Saxons had just arrived in Britain, and then from 500 to 700 AD, the evangelization of Angles, Saxons, and Jutes. We don't even know who these people are, just for us to get an idea. And then from 700 to 1100, only parts of the Bible were translated into quote-unquote Old English. So this is all before it getting to where it is today. And then in the Middle English translation, this is Middle English. So you have to know that the English that we speak today is not the English that they spoke even I would say
400 or 500 years ago.
Not even that. 100 years ago, the language was not how we speak it today. There were more these and there were more thous.
And these and
there
his.
were, yes, it was that sort of English language. So it wasn't the same English language. It changed. So in the year 1066, there was a Norman invasion, brings French influence into the language, the development, and creates quote-unquote Middle English. So this is just the evolution of the language English before we got to this here. So again, somebody by the name of John Wycliffe, he died in 1384. He wanted to take the gospel to the commoners. Began translating it from Latin into English in 1380. He was assisted by Nicholas of Harford, whose translation followed the Latin Vulgate very closely, and John Prouvery, whose revision of Nicholas's translation used more idiomatic expressions, important events at the end of this period. So you're seeing the language again. This is just translating it into English. And you're talking 300 years, 400 years, 700 years, 700 years, until you eventually get to modern English. And modern English was a translation that lasted from the 1500 to the 1900s. Are we following? So just follow along closely. And in 1525, William Tyndale, he translated the New Testament into English from Greek. Was translating Old Testament at the time of his death as a martyr in 1536. So again, this is 1,536 years after the death of Jesus the Christ.
That's a long time, you know. That's a millennia and a half.
And that's before. That is before 1611. 1611. So there's a few versions that came prior to that. There was the Matthew Bible in 1537, 1539, the Great Bible, 1560, the Geneva Bible, 1568, the Bishop's Bible, 1582, Reims Duat translation, which was a Roman Catholic translation from the Latin Vulgate of the Old and New Testament. And then there was 1609, where they translated the Old Testament in 1609, preceded by the translation of the New Testament at Reims in 1582, which then led to 1611, the year 1611. King James Version, or the Authorized Version, commissioned by King James I of England and translated by a number of Bible scholars. I believe Elder Castrilli, he would give you the exact number. I think it was about
70 or 53?
I think it was about 70, 72 scholars. And this was a revision of the 1602 edition of the Bishop's Bible with the aid of quote-unquote Hebrew and Greek texts and the dependence upon the work of William Tyndale. And that was 1611.
What a long process, man.
Oh, what a process it was.
What a long process.
So now, I hope that kind of gives you like a better perspective, because we had a brief discussion about it this morning, and just certain things that you read. You'll read things and you could feel that it relates to you to this very day. Why is that? Because when the verse that we read this morning, they were specifically talking about what was happening then at that time. Then at that time. And even reading this, a lot of this was compiled hundreds of years after the events took place. So for example, when Jesus the Christ, when he died, we had not yet been invaded by Titus, because at 70 AD, Jesus died in 33 AD. So about, like 40 years after that is when our nation as a people was completely destroyed. That was the final nail on the coffin. That was it. And that's when we were taken. And then after those events is when these words, these stories, these scriptures were compiled after that. After. So it just gives you a perspective that this is much bigger than who and what we are. For us now, in the year 2023, to be able to just read this book and understand it with its ease, and just taking everything so much for granted and not really realizing where everything comes from. Just think, 25 years ago, did we have internet? 30 years ago. We had internet 30 years ago?
I wouldn't know. I wasn't there, so I couldn't tell you.
So what would you guys do for those young people of us today? We had computers. We had computers. Don't get it wrong. We had computers, but the internet.
The World Wide Web.
The internet is a different story. And of course, when it comes to the internet, you've got your two brands. You can either use the internet for good, or you can use it for what most people use it for nowadays, which is anti-social media. We are in a whole new world of anti-social media. They say that it's social media, but it's really not anything social about it at all. And there are some of us who cannot live, and I repeat, cannot live without social media.
Young people for sure can't live without social media.
Some of us old folks too, because trust me, every single day I am on social media. Every single day. There is not a day that does not go by that it's facts, that I am not on social media. Whether it be I'm watching a video or scrolling.
It's a part of our everyday life.
It's a part
of our everyday life.
It's scrolling is more so a part of my life, and I'll be honest with you right now, than actually reading. I'm being honest. I am on the internet more so than I'm reading my Bible. And that's Elder Freddie. And don't tell me that you guys don't do it either.
Well, for me, I'm reading my Bible on the internet. So, yeah.
Yeah, right.
No, serious.
Yeah, right.
Modernize the
I know,
process.
I know for a fact that everyone, I can give you all a big group hug, and including all our guests and folks that are on the internet with us. I give everybody a big group hug because I know that we're all on social media more so than we are reading the scriptures. And I'm not saying it's wrong, but I'm just letting you know.
I'm reading the scriptures on social media, I promise you.
Yes, Elvis.
So what do you constitute as social media? Would that include all the Instagram? Hold on.
Wait,
Ready? As you were speaking, a thought came to mind, which I don't think has changed to before Israel. I'm talking Jacobites, to where we are now. Because I think when we were younger, we thought about the Bible, but we didn't know anything about the Bible, but
True.
it's there. But our only thing was, because we don't know the Bible, was to get the cross, as they're doing today. Ask them about the Bible, they don't know why, but to feel holy or to feel godly, the only godly thing you know about is the cross. So you will get it all over your body to show that you're godly, even though internally you might be evil. But again, that is what it is. And I don't think that has changed to before Israel or now. I think it's the same thing.
Oh, definitely.
And we couldn't read the Bible. I mean, for me, I remember the Bible was, you know, in the school when they used to do Romeo and Juliet? Hated it, and that's why I didn't like the Bible, because I couldn't understand it. The same way I couldn't understand Romeo and Juliet, I couldn't understand the Bible. So it is a blessing that even today that we understand it,
indeed,
without it being changed.
Yes, yes. I mean, hey, I'll be the first to tell you, I used to have a cross. Who didn't have a cross?
Not me, man.
Who never? Listen. You never
had
have a cross in your whole life. Ever. Never have a cross. I used to have a cross. I even had an earring at one point in time. Yes. No? Not even when you were a small little girl? Your mom never. So I'm getting those. I'm getting Elder Michael vibes here. Elder Michael says that he was never in a church, never went to service. I know for a fact that as a child, as a baby, when you weren't aware, they took you to that place. Okay. Wow. My goodness.
I never had a cross.
All I can say is this, guys. All I can say is this. One day, each and every soul will stand before the judgment seat. Every single one of us will stand before the judgment seat, and everything will be revealed at that time. So I don't know. I don't know. But I do know that we will all be judged. Are we going to be judged or not? That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
So yes, I got a question.
But we will be judged.
We believe you, Auntie. We believe you.
But we will be judged.
Remember, we're live online. No one's hearing you guys if you're communicating with Elder Freddie and Ezekiel if you don't have a mic.
Okay.
So let's do it in at least organized fashion.
So I had a question regarding the social media. What platforms are we talking about?
Social media is social media, whether it be Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok,
Twitter,
social media.
But some of them,
it's
you don't
social
really
media. There's internet where you do your www searches and you're searching for information.
But there are
information.
some that you don't talk back and forth like, So I just wanted to clarify which ones that you were referring to.
Yeah, all the ones that you talk back
Even
and forth.
YouTube. Even YouTube is social media.
The comment section.
Yeah.
Priest Freddie, I personally, if I had a cross, it was given to me by no.
Guys, listen.
By my grandparents. But
Listen.
everybody's saying no, they don't have a cross. But however, you're born in the Caribbean, you're raised, you were christened, you were crossed up as a baby. So either way, the cross was in your life.
Listen. I'm not here. I'm not here to cause any fights. I know my people, and I know what my people did to Moses and the prophets. I know that it's easy for us to forget, but at one point in time, we all lived another life. And that's why a lot of times when you get into conversations with people and they say that, well, the Israelites were such good people and they never did anything wrong. All right? Like, well, we know the exact opposite is what is true. The Israelites would not end up in the position and the place that they are today if they didn't do something absolutely horrendous.
Multiple times. Crazy.
Over the span of several hundreds of years.
Repeat offenders.
I mean, if you could make the guy, the entity, the being that created the universe and the planets and the stars and the constellations, if you could make that person lose his patience
multiple times,
you had to have done something. Some things really, really terrible, just to know who we are. And the only thing that is keeping us alive today is that covenant that he made with our forefather Abraham. And there are times where, honestly, I have to ask myself, if he had the opportunity, would he say, I regret making this covenant with these people?
It's a serious question.
Had it not been for the covenant, because he's a man of his word. He's a God of his word. So without him making that statement, because there once was a time when a man's word was his bond, and you knew that man by the word that he uttered. And when you think of it, the word, as we are educated here in the Israelite nation, the word is the spirit. So when ye uttered the words, his words were spirit. How much different are we when we utter the words? And you have to live up to those words, because the word is your spirit. You can't see the words.
It's powerful stuff.
It's
why it's called, spelling. Eventually you keep on spelling, and then bam, you hex a person.
Mm-hmm.
Serious stuff, very powerful stuff.
It
coming
is.
Within.
It is. These are little things that we learn and things that we are educated about. But what we're going to do, let's get into some scriptures. Because my nephew Ezekiel, he's got some tantalizing words that we're going to read today. And we can't, this is not going to be a complete day. It's not going to be a fruitful day unless we do read from our scriptures. So remember again, the topic of today's discussion is the Bible versus Christianity.
The Bible versus Christianity.
We might not have enough time. We might even have to make this a series in terms of what we have, because we're going to break down as much of Christianity as we will today. So,
and just before getting into the Bible real quick, let's just look at some quick little facts. So the mother of Christianity is the Catholic Church.
I don't think a lot of people know that. Is there anyone that is aware or not aware? How about there in Cyberland? Because a lot of times, again, people are very forgetful. And most people don't want to admit or for some strange reason want to separate themselves because they might be a different denomination. They might be a Baptist, and the Baptist might not be a Pentecostal or Presbyterian or Methodist or an Anglican or a Lutheran. So they might say that they're all these things, but the mother of all Christianity
that gave birth to all those denominations is the Catholic Church.
And to be specific,
sorry, my bad.
The Roman Catholic Church, because they want to be very clear and very specific. There is absolutely no organization of Christianity that is more powerful than the Roman Catholic Church, the mother of all Christianity.
I believe headquarters is at what, the Vatican City?
The Vatican City, which is a country of its own.
A country of its own. Yes, question.
Yes, Praise Freddie. I just want to confirm that the Christianity is divided in three categories. The Roman Catholic, which is the old one with they used to pray to Mary.
Mm-hmm.
Then the next one is the Catholic.
Mm-hmm.
Then the third one is the Baptism Church, which is goes to Jesus. So
Mhm.
those three combined give you Christianity.
Mhm.
So I just want to confirm that.
Yes, thank you. And we've got also a list here that we're going to go through. And thank you, because a lot of people don't believe that it's true. But it is true. And Ezekiel's going to give us some facts here and some data that's very important.
Very important. So take this in. About 31.6%, which we're going to round up to 32, of the world's population is considered to be Christians. 1/3 of the world is Christians. 53% of those Christians are Catholics. Catholics make up about 18% of the world's population, which is approximately 1.4 billion people. 1.4 billion people. Could you imagine that? That's a lot of Christians. Lastly, there are more than 45,000 Christian denominations globally and more than 200 in the U.S. Thank God that I'm an Israelite. Oh,
Sorry.
my God.
Hold on a sec. Can you say that again, please? Because I don't think, this is the first time I'm hearing those stats. Those are some serious stats. Can you just repeat that again, please?
So the Catholic Church has given birth to 45,000 Christian denominations globally and more than 200 in the U.S. I have a question. What kind of Christian were you? I just had a you're what?
45,000
Pentecostal
denominations.
45,000
denominations. 45,000?
45,000 as of 2023.
As of 2023.
And it's still growing.
And the question I started asking of lately, going back to when we were on the Bible and the Black Man tour that we did, myself and Officer Doreen, the question that came to mind is, but I kept on asking, and that question was, what denomination was Jesus?
That's a good question.
It's the new question that I keep on asking because I'm desperately trying to find out. So if there's anyone who knows, including out there in Cyberland, the denomination of Jesus in the Bible, I want to know what denomination he was. Because I want to follow Jesus the Christ too.
I think it was probably Baptist.
I would love to follow Jesus.
But yeah, man. Thank God I'm an Israelite. Could you imagine 45,000 to choose from? How would you go about that? Would you try this one tomorrow, the next day you try that one, the next day after that you try this one?
So this is 45,000 registered denominations.
There's more than 45,000. There's 45,000. They're sure about that, but there's more. They're still counting to this day.
Okay, this is news to me.
Yes.
I've learned something new today, and I find that very startling.
Yes, 100%. But they're all unique doctrines, their own methods of administering their scriptures, the translation of their Bible to create their own, just to support what they're saying.
Mhm.
It's like so many lies and 1,000 different theories.
Interesting.
Just to keep the continual scheme going forward.
Mhm.
So lies after lies after lies.
Okay.
But this just brings us back to the scriptures, though, because I know me personally, when I have conversations with many Christians out there, my favorite question to ask people is like, do you eat pork? And I know it's a weird question, but me personally, I don't like pork. Like, I don't like just hearing it, seeing people chew it, like everything, pork munches. Like, it's just disgusting to me. So I'm like, I talk to all my friends, talk to people everywhere. Like they would come up to me, Zeke, I believe in the Bible. I'm like, yeah, that's cool, man. Like they tell me I have the strongest faith out here. No one can shake me. I'm like, all right, cool. 2 days later, I go to the cafeteria, I look over their shoulder, I'm like, yo, bro, what's that? It's a pork chop. I thought we believed in the Bible. What's going on there? And they're like, nah, it's all good, bro. It's done away with. I'm like, yo, why is that? Acts 10:15. I go in my Bible, I go quick.
Okay.
I look at Acts 10:15. What does Acts 10:15 say? Well, let's read it though.
Okay.
Shook me when I was younger. I'm like, what's going on here?
Acts 10.
Acts 10:15. I'm sure you guys heard this justification before.
All right, let's get into this. Acts 10.
But this is what they would say, you know. So read the 15th verse.
So you just want me to read it?
Yeah, just read it.
Okay, so Acts chapter 10, verse 15. And the voice spake unto him again the second time, what God hath cleansed, that call not thou common.
Close the book. That's it. You can all eat pork now. You can have your pulled pork sandwiches. You can have your ribs. All of it. It's all good. Pigtail, etc. You're all fine.
Hold on. Let me just read that again. And the voice spake unto him again the second time, what God hath cleansed, that call not thou common. Okay, so yeah. So yeah.
But you know, just to even ask.
So that means you can.
I guess so.
Oh.
I guess so. You guys are free to have your pepperoni pizza. It's all good. After reading that just stows away the whole distinct law of Leviticus.
I'm sorry. I'm just trying to wrap my head around it. So just out of nowhere. So just out of nowhere. This. I'm gonna let you go. I'm gonna let you go. You go ahead.
But no, yeah. So when I heard that all the time, from that Christian, from this Christian, and so you know what? I have to go home. I talk to the Michael gives me a breakdown, and then when you read the full scripture, which we're gonna do, you see they have no idea what they're talking about. Mm-hmm. Which is why today's topic is Christianity versus the Bible. By the way, this Christian that I was talking to was a Protestant. So we're touching the Protestant Christian real quick, and you'll see what the other Christians also say for justification of the same thing, the same consumption of pork. But let's actually talk about the scripture. Let's actually go into chapter 10. What's chapter 10 about? Everyone just wants to quote one verse and then say the law is done away with. Very careless and reckless, but we know better than that here. We know better than that here at the Israelite Nation Worldwide Ministries. But let me read the story. Let's read the story, and then you'll feel free to chime in and just make quick comments here and there. Mm-hmm. But there was a certain man in Caesarea called Cornelius.
And this is Acts chapter 10 from the first verse.
Acts chapter 10 from the first verse. Mm-hmm. A centurion of the band called the Italian band, a devout man and one that feared God with all his house, which gave much alms to the people and prayed to God always.
Now, I got to interject because this is very unusual for this particular man and who he was to actually do this. Because as the scripture says, he was a centurion. And a centurion was a member of the Roman army. Not only was he a member, but he had a company of how many?
3. No, many.
How many people? This is a soldier, and a soldier who has men underneath him. How many? 100. Do you know that it's 100 because century, the word century, is 100. So this is a captain in the Roman army of 100 soldiers at his disposal. So he commands 100 men.
I had no idea. That's
And you grew up and you went to a military school. And in the military school, how many people did you command?
40.
40. So add 60 on top of that.
That's a lot of people.
And this is a soldier, and at this time of the most powerful army on the earth. There was no army more powerful than the Roman army. And at this time, they had invaded, they took over all of northern Africa, all of what's called the Middle East today, because Africa did not end as it does today at the Suez Canal. There was no Suez Canal. Not even the new canal that they're going to be building straight through Gaza. But hey, we're not talking about that today. But right now, this particular man in this story had 100 soldiers underneath him that he commanded. He was an Italian, meaning he looked like Elder Castrilli, whereas everyone else in the land of Israel looked like myself and like my nephew. So for the Italian guy, the Italian soldier that invaded our country to be as it says here, a devout man and one that feared God with all his house, which gave much alms to the people and prayed to God always. This is highly unusual.
How peculiar.
Highly unusual that a Roman soldier, a white Gentile Roman soldier, prayed to the God of these black people. Very unusual. So we just need to illustrate for
I
people
hear you,
what's
man.
going on here.
But even you look at the culture too, you know.
Culture is completely different. A completely different culture. Because in his culture, they embraced
all sorts of manner of things.
They ate everything.
Including pork.
That was just on a light day. They ate everything. You name it. They ate it.
Not even cooked sometimes as well, you know. Madness from the Volga,
Well,
the Teutonics, the Anglo-Saxons.
The more blood, the better.
100%.
We have a renowned chef as
Where?
part of our congregation.
I think I see him. Oh, there he is.
We have and Chef Jermaine, the more blood that's seen running in some of these meals, it's the better. So they put it, right? They get the steak, and it's served, and it's the absolute.
It's the prime. It's the standard.
Oh,
it's the standard.
It has to be running.
100%. If no blood is dripping, then it's not a good steak.
So just to give you an idea as to the group of people that this centurion, Cornelius, was a part of. And let's continue.
Some good background information. Good background
We got to get this, because a lot of times they don't give us the background information. And we need it. It's very vital for us to understand.
He saw in a vision, so this is chapter 10, verse 3. He saw in a vision, evidently about the 9th hour of the day, an angel of God coming into him and saying unto him, Cornelius. And when he looked on him, he was afraid, and he said, What is it, Lord? And he said unto him, Thy prayers and thine alms are come up for a memorial before God. And now send men to Joppa and call for one Simon, whose surname is Peter. He lodgeth with one Simon, a tanner, whose house is by the seaside. He shall tell thee what thou oughtest do. And when the angel which spoke...
Hold on a minute there. I'm sorry. This is just... I have to speak on this.
Oh, go for it.
The reason why is because what we are taught today and what we know today is just pray to God, any and everybody, and you're good to go.
It's all-inclusive.
All-inclusive? Like when you go on vacation and you get the all-inclusive band,
package, yeah.
And then you know
comes with everything.
And depending on the color of the band, you're allowed to go to any station, right? And this is the vacation when you're going. Anyways, all inclusive. So anybody, come one, come all, you can just pray to God, is what we were taught. But this is not the case, and this is not the situation here. You had a devout Roman centurion, Cornelius, who didn't connect with his own culture. So he turned to the culture of the Israelites and liked what they did and decided, let me pray to the God of these people. But when the answer came to him, the angel spake to him and said, go find the Israelite. Go find the Israelite. His name is Peter. He's there in Joppa. He's at a tanner's house, because I don't deal with you people. I don't have an agreement with you. I don't, as much as alms that you're giving, which I applaud, which is great. Love the alms, love the dedication that you're showing towards my people. But hey, I don't have a covenant with you technically, although, but I'm going to send you to Peter.
Still going to help you out.
Yeah.
That's
Hey.
very, very fortunate considering where he is,
Considering what's taking place here. So I'll send you to Peter. Peter is the Israelite. The Israelite have the connection. Go and talk to him. Nobody sees that. Did anybody see that when we read it the first time? No. Why didn't the angel just say, hey, hey, go to the big guy upstairs and say, big guy, I got Cornelius down here. I got Cornelius on deck. I got Cornelius on deck, centurion. He's there giving alms to your people. He loves what you do. But Cornelius on deck, what do you want me to do with him? Why didn't the angel just say, I've got prayers from Cornelius to God? No.
That's a really good question.
He sent the angel to tell Cornelius to go find Peter. That's your in. That's my plug. The plug is Peter. Peter the plug.
Peter the plug.
Peter the plug, man. That's my dude. That's the guy that's gonna get whatever Cornelius have to say. Just tell him to talk to Peter, man. I got no time, but tell him to talk to Peter. That's the situation. That is the situation even today. We are the plug to the God of Israel. Know your importance and know your role. You Israelites are the plug to the God of Israel, and nothing has changed. Nothing has changed. But let's continue. This is a great story, by the way.
I like this story. And when the angels, so this is Acts 10, verse 7. And when the angel which spoke unto Cornelius was departed, he called 2 of his household servants, and a devout soldier, 3 in total, and them that waited on him continually. And when he had declared all these things unto them, he sent them to Joppa. On the morrow, as they went on their journey and drew nigh unto the city, Peter went up upon the housetop to pray about the 6th hour. And he became very hungry and would have eaten, but while they made ready, he fell into a trance. So he had a vision. And saw heaven open, and a certain vessel descending unto him, as it had been a great sheet knit of the 4 corners and let down to the earth, wherein were all manners of 4-footed beasts of the earth, and wild beasts, and creeping things and fowls of the air. And there came a voice to him, Rise, Peter, kill and eat. But Peter said, Not so, Lord, for I have never eaten anything that is common or unclean. And the voice spoke again to Peter the second time. This is it. This is a super verse right here. You ready for this?
Yeah.
What God hath cleansed, that called not thou common. This is interesting.
Yeah, it is.
This is interesting. Interesting build-up. Interesting build-up.
It's very interesting. Interesting because the Christian person that you spoke to used this scripture to justify and tell you that it's okay to eat pork.
Makes no sense.
How does that make sense? Because when we read the story, we're reading the story and it's saying to Peter. Now I had this conversation with somebody that was very close to me not too long ago. And what they were saying is that I put certain oils on my body because, this is what they anointed Jesus with. When they anointed Jesus. So I had to say,
wow,
are you Jesus? There was a pause. I said, are you Jesus? I paused for emphasis, of course. But there was a pause on the phone when I said, are you Jesus? No, but, well, if you're not Jesus, why are you using oil? Why are you putting oil on yourself if you are not Jesus? So the question I got to ask is your friend Peter.
That's a good question.
Like,
Nah. Hold on. You know what? I ain't gonna lie because in that,
are you Peter?
Hold on. To give you more context, in that room that I was in, was talking to all those guys.
Right.
One of them was named Peter.
Okay, but
yeah, I know, but
it
wasn't Peter. No.
Was it Peter from Joppa?
It was Ogochukwu.
Peter Ogochukwu?
Yeah, no, his name was Ogochukwu, I think.
Ogochukwu.
Yeah, something.
But it
like
was
that.
not Peter from Joppa,
No.
and it was definitely not this Peter from all these thousands of years ago.
Crazy.
Like we're reading a story that is literally thousands of years ago. Specifically to a guy named Peter who was an Israelite. And in those days, the Israelites, as he said, I don't eat anything common or unclean. And this is after Jesus the Christ was crucified.
That's a very good point.
Jesus the Christ had been crucified already. We are in the book of Acts. We're not in Matthew, Mark, Luke, or John. We're not. We are in the book of Acts during the time of the apostles.
The actions of the apostles.
The acts of the apostles. And Peter is saying,
instantly.
Did he not get the memo? Did he not get the text?
Must have missed it.
That Jesus died.
His phone was on D&D.
Jesus died. His phone was on D&D.
Do not disturb.
Jesus died. He was crucified on the cross, but yet not just anyone, but this is Peter,
the apostle,
his right-hand man, the guy that was there beside Jesus, that went through everything with him, stood by his side. It was basically, he got confused. A lot of people still confuse him with the disciple that Jesus loved. But this is Peter. And Peter is saying, like, didn't he know that it was okay now to start eating pork?
He must have missed the memo.
Lobsters and shrimps and seafood and
Drink some
all
blood
those
too.
oysters
blood
and
on the side.
All that stuff. Didn't Peter know that it was okay now? I mean, Peter Okuchu know. He knew that.
Yeah, I guess he did, didn't he?
He knew that, and it's 2023. But this is just shortly after the death of Jesus. Why is Peter and the apostles, why are they not eating things that was against their culture? This is why we're having this talk. This is why we're having this discussion of the Bible versus Christianity. Because we are reading the Bible as opposed to what Christians say.
Huge difference.
Well, we're not even just going to isolate the scripture.
Difference.
Because we could isolate scriptures too. We can isolate scriptures to the point where everything that we say, it just points directly to what we want you to hear. But we want to give you the full story.
Full context.
Full context.
Full context.
Nothing out of context. And that's what I appreciate so much here at the Israelite Nation.
And just even add to what you're saying, from the beginning with the background information, plus what we just read, you can put everything together already. Right now, you see where Cornelius is coming from.
Right.
The Isles of the Gentiles. You know their culture, the way they behave, their actions. Culture, thank you to Elder Shadrach, we understand it's a way of life. So what they're eating, what they partake in, the marriages that they have, the foods that they have, the gowns that they wear, all pertain to their culture.
Indeed.
So you look at the Gentile culture, the culture of the Italians, and even today they have a lot of pork in their culture. I ain't gonna lie, there's a lot of pork in there. It's like you go to any kind of deli, and you see it's an Italian deli, and you see bare types of pork
Not
dishes.
much has changed.
Not much has changed.
Isn't that something?
Not much has changed. And so you see, so like what kind of spirit they have. The spirit moves the body. So if this spirit is gravitating towards, eating pork, shrimp, lobster, drinking blood, then you know it's an unclean spirit. It's a spirit that does not agree with the standards and the doctrine of Israel. Right there and then. And so you see that he's having a vision. So 3 times that happens, and you're about to see 3 people appear into him. The dots start to click. Those people are unclean. But the God of Israel sent them. So it's starting to click a little bit, starting to make sense.
Indeed.
So
What I did while you're speaking, I'm not being rude or anything. I logged in so I can see for myself, so I can read any of the comments that might come in case there's any questions, or in case because I know sometimes things get hectic back there. They might not be really watching. So I encourage everyone to put your comments in and your questions concerning the topic of today, and again, the Bible versus Christianity. And if there's anyone here within the audience as well too, you guys know it's interactive, right? So feel free. Yes, Elder Val.
Okay, so
bring in the mic.
Yeah, so it all boils down to misleading, right? Because when you say these so-called preachers who they would go to school known as theologian school, right? To learn all about God and about the Bible. And it's impossible for you to go to such school as theologian. I don't even know the meaning of it, but they use that word, right? That terms. And then
hold the mic to you.
Yeah, because these people, some of these people, they know exactly what's going on, what's taking place in this book, right? So what they do is just a way to mislead the people from the truth. You know what I mean? So what they would do, they would read these things, you know what I mean? And for instance, like how we would read it, because what do we say? Every verse belongs to a chapter, and every chapter belongs to a book, right? But they don't do it like that. They will read just one verse and make a whole lesson out of it, and mislead the whole people on this.
And as we all know, we're just getting into it. We haven't really dived into it yet because there was so much more than just misleading. Misleading is really and truly it's an understatement. This is beyond misleading. This is so much more than just there's because they say that a lie is not just saying something that's untruth, but also it's if you hide something, or if you don't say something, or if you omit something. It's there's much more to it than that, and we're going to get into it because it's very, very important for us, because most of us, and I see that even today in your generation as well too, nothing has changed when it comes to the Bible versus Christianity. You see that it's so much has not changed as much as we think that it has changed, but it hasn't.
Matter of fact, I think it's scaled. It's blended into popular culture. Like just to give you, because I know we're talking about the blood, eating blood. Like I would get heat for ordering my steak well done. I'm like, yo, guys, chill. It's a well done steak. Everyone around me is like, want medium rare, blue. But when I order my well done steak, like, yo, Zeke, what's wrong with you, bro? Why you destroyed the steak? You ruined it. The chef gave me a stupid look. He's like, yo, what's wrong with this guy? You're wasting a piece of good meat. But the way they treat the meat is if they worship the meat. It's like, yo, don't cook it for too long. I'm not sure, but raise your hand. How many of you heard of Kobe beef? Or Wagyu? Have you guys heard of Wagyu? Just go on YouTube and type down Wagyu beef. Watch them cook. It's like 3 seconds on both sides. You cannot have that well done.
Hold on, how come Chef Jermaine ain't saying that? Chef Jermaine is just sitting there all quiet, not saying anything. It's like,
I don't know. Is this something you're
Chef
hiding?
Jermaine, what's going on? have you prepared any of those?
That's a good question. Can you have that well done? Yeah, you're getting so much heat.
Oh wow. Anyways, let's proceed. Let's proceed. You're holding the mic. Say something.
Peace, everyone. Is it on?
Peace.
Okay. Okay. So, question. So, Elder Freddie, Ezekiel. So, do you believe that the Christian institutions, so let's say pastors, priests, whatever they call themselves, bishops, whatever, do you believe that they know 100% that they're deceiving people, or do you believe that some of them actually believe they're telling the truth and like this is just the message that they got? So they believe that they're in the right, or do you believe that they all know that they're
Let me ask you a question.
Deception.
Has anyone ever seen or caught a glimpse of the show Green Pastures?
Yes.
Green Pastures.
You watching Green Pastures?
Green Pastures.
I never watched it before, no.
Let me tell you something. When it comes to those people, unequivocally, with no water, even though I just drank some water, there's absolutely no way under God, beautiful sky, and upon this green earth that they do not know what they are doing. It is big business. We are talking major business.
Billions of dollars. Sorry. Trillions.
Listen,
what am I saying? My bad.
you have absolutely no idea what those people can earn tax-free.
You know what? I think there was some kind of...
Hold on. I don't think you heard me. I don't think you heard me. Does anybody here know or understands what it means to be tax-free? You know your paycheck that you get every week? Sorry. Every 2 weeks? You know that thing that you get every 2 weeks when you trade in your hours of your life, you dedicate and you pour into.
Let them cook.
Pour into. And trust me, some of us go to wherever we go to, and literally it is blood, sweat, tears, bumps, scratches, humiliation, defeat, like you name it. You go through it every single day. You wake up hours before the sun is up, sometimes, to get there. And then you work. You work and you work and you work. And then after you're done working, some of us work even more. And then you have to travel to get home. Some of us, you're like the bags underneath your eyes, so trust me. And then every 2 weeks, or a week for some of us, before you can see, before you even get paid.
This is so vivid, man.
Here in the province of Ontario, there is something called federal and provincial and CPP. They take it before you get paid. And the more money you make, it's the more federal, provincial, and CPP that they take before you get. That's tax. There is not going to be a week that you're not going to be taxed. But those people that you just mentioned, tax-free. They collect every single Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, even on Christmas Day.
No CPP.
Even on Christmas Day, they collect tax-free. No, you cannot right now. Not right now.
Don't you feel his pain?
Not right now. Because when they collect, they are able to take that. They buy real estate tax-free, cars tax-free, buses tax-free, jets tax-free. You can't tell me that they don't know what they're doing. They lie to the people. Not one of them. if you pick up this book and you start to read this book, and then you're going to tell me something else other than what you see, other than what you see in this book, you're going to tell me that they don't know, that they are innocent of what they are doing, lying to the people, just to collect money from them.
CPP.
You're going to tell me that they don't know?
Wow.
This is big business. Well, because we come here to this little Israelite nation ruled by Ministries, we are so sheltered that we don't even know what's going on out there. Do you know that there are people that they force, not only 10%, you got to pay 20%. Oh, that's not enough. You got to pay for tabernacle, for Passover, for things that they don't even know what the hell they're doing. But they force people and rob people. It's robbery. So yeah, they do know. Especially when you pick up the book. If there's nothing that you do in a book, nothing that you do, and you pick up a book and then manipulate and lie to people to get them to give you money, and when it's not enough, send the bucket back out. Send the bucket back out because they're not getting enough. They can't tell me that they don't know. I'm sorry. I'm not making no excuses for absolutely none of them. So yeah, when it comes to Christianity, that's the number one target. That's the number one enemy. The number one, and it's not the Christian people, but it's the philosophy that allows them and tells them to do that.
Remember, no CPP.
Give me a break.
Even in Ontario, there's some institutions that if you don't have cash, it's okay because they walk around the debit machine. Interact, they have ATM and Interact.
You can't escape.
You can't escape it.
They don't let you escape.
All inclusive.
And it's all for money. Has nothing to do with the truth. Has nothing to do with the Bible. That's why today the topic of discussion is the Bible versus Christianity. The Bible versus Christianity, because we actually want to see what is written in the Bible. What is actually there? Because most of us don't read. Nobody reads the Bible. Because if you read the Bible, you would have questions in your mind. Something would come to your mind and say, wait a minute. You'd be like Andrew. And say, I'm not going to that place. As much as you tried. As much as you tried, Karen. He said, I'm not going.
I got CPP.
Andrew, son of Walls and Hines, welcome home. This is the first place that he ever felt comfortable enough to ask questions, and when he asked his questions, they were answered. You asked your questions and they were answered. That is what the Israelite nation is about. That is what we're doing here. We are answering questions. And we really do want to see whether or not, whatever it is they say that's out there, is it actually in the Bible?
Nope.
That's what we're exploring today. That's the topic of discussion. I'm sorry, sometimes I get passionate.
I was just double checking on you, innit?
Yeah.
Yeah, we appreciate it though.
It's no slight against you.
You know,
But
I
it says
just want to add one thing. Like you, I've seen reports where these mega churches, the leaders of these mega churches, they'll buy private jets. And they'll take them on the weekend. They'll fly out to New York to get some cheesecake and come back. I'm like, what?
You know what's worse?
What?
It's not even the mega churches that's worse. What's worse?
Cheesecake, you know. In New York. Like, come on, it can't get any worse than that. Real cheesecake, yeah. That's mad, you know.
What's worse?
What's gas you burn on a private jet like that?
What's worse are those little storefront places that you see. One right beside the other. The little storefront place. Like, really and truly, is that the only scam in town? Like, people that have nothing. You know, like, the people have nothing. Nothing. But you're still running that same scam in your little storefront, hole in the wall, back a wall, little place, teaching lies. and falsehood. Again, just to rob people of their hard-earned money.
The young and the old. Yes.
There's a comment in the chat.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah, so you're mentioning that how they take advantage even in the little shop.
Yeah.
Right? There was a comment in the chat that says that they used to even send deacons to the house of the individuals to collect from those that did not attend service that day.
Gosh.
Wow, man.
So just imagine. So if you didn't attend church, they would still send a deacon to those who did not attend to your house to collect.
Wow.
Yeah, real good system. Real good system.
So these guys are worse than loan sharks. Because the loan shark will come and get you. If you borrow money from those people and you don't pay back the interest, they send guys to like break fingers and legs and stuff like that to collect their money.
There's another observation that one of the highlights of our nation, the Israelite nation worldwide ministries, that sometimes we overlook is really that spirit of truth, the spirit of understanding. Because to Ezekiel's point on Acts 10, a lot of these guys are reading it to validate or to justify eating pork, shrimp, oysters, calamari, etc. But when you have the understanding, the spirit of truth, you know what it's actually talking about. So when you have, I was speaking with Elder Tam here, and she is brought to my attention that a lot of those shops that have little rundown pastors and deacons, they're not intentionally deceiving the people because they themselves are deceived. They have no understanding. They have zero understanding. But I think what you're talking about is that 1% in the world that know exactly what they're doing and have built this system to keep us under their thumb, right? But the spirit of understanding, guys, is really a gift from God. And we got to be really, really appreciative of being who we are today.
Applause, definitely. I hear that.
No, 100%. 100%.
But I still got to go after them somehow. I still got to get a couple jabs in there.
You know what? Hearing you speak, I can feel the pain in your heart. You know, I can feel the pain in my CPP, provincial. I never heard of these words before. I just got into the working force. Right? Wow.
I'm telling you, man.
Yes, Auntie Sophie.
For those of us who work and pay your taxes that you cannot avoid, I mean, I'm quite sure we would love to not pay or somehow lessen, but it's because of things like that you see, you know, you can see the correlation, and you can see how exactly they work, how they operate, and for me, especially because, as I said earlier, the Bible it draws me. Like I feel comforted by it, and when you have that connection to it, it's basically it's your safe haven. Whenever you go through things, or even when you're not, when you sink into it and you absorb it, and then to find out that the very same book that you read, the very same stories that you read, the same verses, the same phrases that you read, someone would literally take that and twist it and reshape it into something else that is completely the opposite of what it was meant for.
Why are we surprised? Because you see where it's coming from. You see the history of that organization and what they've done. The number, we read the numbers.
Indeed.
That 31.6% of the world, you think, what, did just happen overnight? No, they had mass armies of conversions. It's like convert or die. Come over here, come join us. They would take from other people, come join us. They get to keep their culture, they get to keep their ways, and before you know it, you're celebrating Christmas, but which comes from the Celtics.
Yeah. But like we were saying though, when we first started, It was 300 years after 300 years after the death of Jesus the Christ that quote-unquote Christianity found its way into the British island. It's completely foreign. The stories are completely foreign. The culture completely foreign to the people that took it. So like, it's not even you. It wasn't even you to begin with. But yet you fought wars. You invaded countries. You killed. You murdered. You pillaged. You raped. And you like using the story of a people that is not even you.
Intellectual theft.
Like, it's, think of it. It's to the highest level. When you read a story about Moses and about, even if you're not even going to do the Old Testament, but about some person by the name of Jesus and his 12 disciples. Like, it's not even you. What are you doing? It's somebody completely different. Like, you don't find me or anyone here digging through the provinces of Guangdong in those places, looking for somebody's culture to take and call my own.
And fighting wars and
those
battles.
people in Zhangzhou province, I don't know who they are. I don't care what they do. Let them do whatever they're doing to the Ming Dynasty or do. But as great as the Ming Dynasty and all those things were, like, why is it everyone feels that they need to come and take from the children of Israel?
You take what you don't have.
Take from us. Take from these people and then call it your own. Like, what is that?
Plagiarism.
Like, nowhere else is that done. Nowhere else is that done. But everyone takes from our people. Everyone takes from our culture. Everyone takes from our book and then gives us back nothing.
No credit. Plagiarism. Yeah, you take it, you pass it on, don't give no credit. They are the first to do it, and now you can't even do it in school anymore. You know that's an academic offense.
It is.
Expelled. You can't go back to school 6 months.
It is, but
because they know it best.
I want to when I spoke to my nephew, like we did not intend for it to go this way, but what we're doing, this is something that cannot be completed in one afternoon. We have to do a series. Because we haven't even gotten it into our first quote-unquote denomination yet. We haven't gotten to our first denomination. The first denomination really and truly is not a denomination because it is the mother of all Christianity. And we are going to dive into the Roman Catholic shrine, church, belief. And that's what started all of Christianity.
It's a scary jump, man.
It is.
Scary jump.
But first we have to deal with some underlying discussions dealing with just the common things that we face on a day-to-day basis. Yeah.
So if you had a question?
Yes.
So just a comment. It's and it's really scary, especially for our young people, because there was a special that I've been watching, and it's, we could sit here and we could, the spirit of truth to discern, what we're reading and what's out there in the world. But on the other side, they're coming together, board meeting, and they're targeting. So it's not that they have the Bibles open and, okay, let's understand the scripture. No, they're saying we're getting less money from this denomination. What do we have to do? So what they're starting to do now is targeting the young people, which is taking celebrities and using them and also including now the drugs in it. So when they go to parties, it's rave party, but they have the Christianity band singers. So they're really good. They're just like, the major ones we have out there. But that is what they're doing now. So you go to these parties, it's everything goes. Like everything goes. When you see some of them on TV, anything goes. So that's the target. Even Justin Bieber one. I'm sure you guys remember he had a guru, a young man, that was his spiritual advisor. Then it became a mega church. Then he became a mega for all the celebrities, the young ones. Now what? He came out, everything is ripped away from him because, again, he's not that. He's not what they portrayed. But he had to go in. They had to dress him the way that he dressed like a young person. he had to go with like a squeaky. He's cool. He's this. He goes everywhere with Justin Bieber. But he's out. There's another one coming in. So that's what they do. They target now, and they market in the young people. So anything goes right now. And they said the number one thing in there now, it's again the weed. So when you see all these young celebrities getting all these crosses and whatever, and they're talking about, they don't really talk about God. They just get it on their bodies now. That is another part of the targets.
Well, and again, that's why we're diving into this topic of the Bible versus Christianity, because we want to see like how it relates. Are those things that they are talking about? Where can we find them? Well, we gotta at least look, right? We gotta look. So you found the justification for eating pork.
It looks like it. It looks like it. I think we have one more comment, and then we're going to get back.
Yeah, the big major religions, they had a meeting, I think a year ago, where all the religious leaders,
the
from
date?
Christianity, Islam, all these different religions, Hinduism, they all gathered together and they're discussing creating a one world religion. So look out for that. That's the latest hot topic.
Chrislam or something, yeah?
It's already done? Oh, nice. I'm late to that discussion.
Yeah. You must have. What was it called again?
Chrislam?
No. What was it?
What's it called?
What was his phone on?
Chrislam? I like it.
Yeah, D&D.
Yeah, Lenroy, we think your phone was on D&D that time they sent out.
You missed the memo.
You didn't get the memo.
Oh, Priest Freddie, I didn't even think about that, but they roll out this thing at work, which at work you're never allowed to talk about religion. Can't talk about religion at work. But all of a sudden, they have sent out, so that must be it. It's a chart. It's a circle. And in the circle, they have put the 12. The 12, they say, religious denomination that is supported now. So I was looking and I said, well, I don't see Israelite. And I'm so happy, but they have it now in 12. So it's only 12. And it's in a circle, and they put the little things. You know what? I'm going to get it off the internet at work. That all the employees now have to recognize, and we can't do any, talking down to this one about their religion. We can't do this, but it's recognized now. They put it into 12. And all whatever falls underneath it. So I probably have to print it off at work.
Interesting.
That's what it is.
Well, if people should think about this, if all these leaders can sit down and have a discussion about creating a unified religion, doesn't it mean they're all serving the same God? No. If a Hindu can sit down with a Muslim,
yeah,
right, and you've seen them break down a Hindu temple, in like the people at the lower level, all the regular. Why is it they can all sit down? Christian, Muslim, the Hindus, they can all sit down and create a one-world religion. Doesn't it ring in people's head that, wait a second, are we serving the same God? How can they all sit down?
Same kingdom, isn't it?
It's the same team.
Now, that's a rhetorical question, right?
Yes, it was.
Okay.
All the intelligent people.
Thank you. We're gonna jump back in.
Yeah.
Or do you want to jump back in?
I'm sorry, really quickly. I just have to 12 because according to the stat that was read earlier, it was 45,000. So your job is missing 44,988 from their chart.
No, what that was?
Denominations.
Those are denominations of Christianity.
Oh, okay. Yours was just talking different groups of people.
Yeah.
But they knocked it off into 12, so maybe it's a Christian thing. Because all of a sudden they sent it to everybody at work that we have to recognize these 12. And some of them might even know about it. I said, what the heck is this? Recognizing this spirit and that. Like, it gives you a breakdown of the 12 that's recognized in the world.
Maybe it's Chrislam.
But as we all know, that it is a farce.
Yes. It is a farce.
The reason why we know this is because they say that you're not allowed, or they used to say, up until they sent out that. It's like when they said that smoking weed was illegal and now it's okay. Anyways, so you're not allowed to promote a single quote-unquote religion, right? But every single December 21st, we are all told that we're closed on the 24th. We're going to close early. Don't come here on the 25th. Why? Because it's closed for Christmas. So we're forced to recognize or acknowledge that day and quote unquote Christmas is the day that they celebrate as the birth of their God. Again, we're supposed to not recognize or put one religion above the other, right? But yet we're forced to. So you see the hypocrisy of it all. So even if they give you 12 philosophies that you're supposed to recognize, again, it goes back to the whole thing again, that it's okay for them to do that, but we're not going to recognize you. If you're the Israelite, we're not going to recognize you at all. Yes?
I wanted to comment. I've been thinking about what you said earlier about it being a business, which is so true. And I'm just sitting here like, my goodness, digesting that thought and just feeling like how criminal it is. That here you have, and I guess I'm like going back to me as a child even, like you have Jacobites and children that are hoping, right? Like children of hope in the Jacobite community. You know, and usually they're in devastated areas and poverty-stricken areas, that here you have these Jacobites putting their hope, giving their all, doing everything. And they're just being abused over and over and over again. And I know that the spirit of truth is not with them, but the fact that those that understand and make a business out of it don't care. You know what I mean? I just feel like it's so criminal and just so sad when I think about it.
And just even add to that, because we just read about the translations of the Bible multiple times. A lot of those translations are done for money's sake. It's like all you have to do is change 10% of it. It's a brand new thing you can trademark and publish to the world. Like that's big money right there. Imagine I could scale that many books, maybe 10,000 people.
Yeah. And
I'm good, man.
And we didn't even get into because what we covered, we covered the history of the Bible in English, just getting to English. That's what we covered. We haven't yet covered English to English. We haven't covered that yet because that
there's a lot. It's like literally year after year.
From 1901 to 1991. It's sorry. If you can see all this, you see all these years. This is from 1901 to 1991. This is just 91 only. These are the versions of the Bible that have been translated from this one into English, more English, different types of English.
We're not even in the 21st century yet, too. So, and the list is still going.
Yes.
So there were a couple of points, and I kind of lost my train of thought, but kind of going off of what Officer Doreen had said, you know, there's such deception. And when we talk about, so again, the deception and also just understanding where the power really lies in this world, and that's with Christianity. So it doesn't matter if there's Chrislam, where you have a group of 4 different philosophies, quote unquote, you got to understand who the real power lies with. So you can always portray something for somebody to see, but you don't know what the behind the scenes are and who's really running the show, right? And I think we have that gift because of the spirit of truth and the spirit of understanding, we're able to see who's really in play and who really holds the power. And if we even want to talk about the great whore, we all know where it stems from, right? Without going into all those details. And that kind of leads me to the other point as well when you had mentioned, you know, they always want to steal from us and take from us. And that's because they want to destroy us. They want to take away our identity. They want to take away who we are so that it is no more in our remembrance, so that we become the sheep that they can lead to the slaughter, right? So it is so important for us as Israel to remember who we are and to protect our children, because they will feed on our children, like Sophie was saying. So you see all of these things at play. And because we have that spirit of understanding, we are able to see that. So for that, I'm grateful. But it's also very sad because you have so many children, so many Jacobites, children of Israel, whatever you want to call them, children of slavery, and they don't see. And they may never see. And it's very sad.
It is.
It's very sad to see your lineage in that state, right? But again, it's just to be thankful that we can see, but also to understand what's really going on in the world. So I don't know if there's a real point here. It's just stuff that was just running through my mind. But yes, to Officer Doreen's point, it's very scary and it's very sad. And, you know, just who we are, being thankful, being grateful, and really doing our part to change what we can change with the strength of our God, in a nutshell. So,
I agree.
yeah.
I agree. And again, too, that I think that's probably one of the most important things that we stress so much, and that is for us to be thankful. Really and truly, be thankful, because it's not of your own accord. It's not of your own accord or ability that you're actually able to understand what is said here. It's not. Unless you are or have been selected to hear, for your ears to actually be open, for you to actually comprehend what we do here on a weekly basis, what we do here on a daily basis. If you live the life that we live, it's not because you came up with that or because you discovered it. It's because there is a higher force. I mean, we read it this morning. Is that there he is? We read it this morning about higher powers and about that. And it's because of that higher power and that higher being that has unlocked your ears and allowed you to hear. And that is why you understand. The spirit of understanding is not given to fools. It's not just given to anyone. So count your blessings. Count your blessings every moment, every opportunity that you get a chance to say, thank you, God of Israel. Make sure you say, thank you, God of Abraham, God of Isaac, and God of Jacob. Because I could have been amongst the billions who are not allowed to hear. They're not allowed to hear. Whether it be that he's not ready for them to hear, or he just don't want them to hear. Because there are people who he just doesn't want to hear. He doesn't want them. But he wants you. He wants you to be a part of his family. So count your blessings and don't take any of this for granted. The moment that it clicks, because I know that it doesn't click for everyone, and it's not going to.
Because it's a gift.
Yeah, it's not going to click all at the same time for some of us, but I do believe that it's based off of your experiences. And when you go out, it's not when you're here so much, it's when you're out there and you are forced to be in a situation or in a place where you speak and you don't even know who's speaking. But something clicked somewhere and you are testifying. And when we talk about the Comforter and when we talk about the Holy Ghost, that is what is being spoken about in the scriptures, when you don't even know what you're saying, but someone is explaining Israel, and you're standing beside yourself, and you're looking and saying, wow, I had no idea you had that in you. That's when you know. That's when you've arrived. That's when you have arrived. Because it's not us, but it's the God of Israel, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob that allowed you to understand. Allowed you to understand. And that's why we give him thanks. And I know we don't have much time, but as I said, we're going to have to make this a series.
100%. Definitely. It's too much to cover. There's
There's
so
way
much
too
damage
much
to
to cover.
undo. You know, so many things to explore because of what we're dealing
And
with.
you didn't even finish.
I hear voices, you know. I hear voices out here. But just to quickly touch on this real quick before we close things. So back to Acts 10, we're at the 16th verse. And so you see that 3 men were sent to go to Peter. And so we get division 3 times, 3 men showed up. So it just connects right there. But I'm going to quickly read through a couple of verses, and then we'll just close things off from there. But this was done thrice, and the vessel was received up again into heaven. This is verse 17 now. Now while Peter doubted in himself what this vision, that this vision which he had seen should mean, behold, the men which were sent from Cornelius had made inquiry for Simon's house and stood before the gate. Even to go far, like even Peter was confused about the vision. Like he didn't take it to go eat pork right away after having the vision.
Right away? He didn't even eat pork.
At all. Not bad at all. And then somehow you have some kind of pork muncher from Nigeria telling you that you can eat pork now. Makes no sense.
You just called somebody a pork muncher?
It is what it is, you know. You're munching on pork. I'm not lying. He was munching on pork. Why is that? It's not derogatory.
No, that's a new one. I've never
Yeah,
heard
pork munchers, man. Watch out for them. Anyways, and called and asked whether Simon, which was surnamed Peter, were lodged there. While Peter thought on the vision, the Spirit said unto him, behold, 3 men seek thee. Arise therefore and get thee down and go with them, doubting nothing, for I have sent them.
Amen.
So you know the God of Israel has sent them there. The God of Israel wouldn't just send unclean people unto Peter, because like Peter's like, yo, come on, God. What's going on here? You tell us all these years to stay away from them, to separate, because you know the damage it can cause to us as a community. But now you sent 3 of them to me? But you need to be prepared for that.
And look at the type of people that he sent. Like, it wasn't just anyone. He sent Cornelius, who had been praying to God and had been giving alms and donating to the people, because for some reason he fell in love with the Israelite people and their culture and their God and started to follow after them, even though he's completely alien to them. But you see, it wasn't just anyone.
God had to prepare Peter for that reception.
Yeah,
It's
so amongst the Gentiles, he didn't just choose all Gentiles. He just chose that one particular guy at that instant and said, yeah, you're good, but go see Peter.
Go see Peter. I like
Peter
that.
is the plug. Go see Peter the plug.
Peter is the plug.
Peter the plug will hook you up. I don't deal with you, but go see Peter. Are we good?
So verse 21, then Peter went down to the men which were sent unto him from Cornelius and said, behold, I am he whom ye seek. What is the cause wherefore ye are come? And they said, Cornelius the centurion, a just man, and one that feared God, and of good report, among all the nations of the Jews, was warned from God by a holy angel to send for thee into his house, and to hear words of thee. Then called he them in and lodged them, and on the morrow Peter went away with them, and certain brethren from Joppa accompanied him. And the morrow after they entered into Caesarea, and Cornelius waited for them, and had called together his kinsmen and near friends. Real quick, and as Peter was coming in, Cornelius met him and fell down on his feet and worshipped him. He was humble. But Peter took him up, saying, stand up, I myself also am a man. And as he talked with him, he went in and found many that were come together. And he said unto them, ye know how that it is unlawful things for a man that is a Jew to keep company or come unto one of another nation. But God has shown me that I should not call any man common or unclean. That's what I wanted to see, yeah.
There you go. There you go. There you go.
Mic drop right there. But there's a few things I want to touch. There's a few things.
You got mere seconds.
Yeah, I got mere seconds. The
Yes,
first
yes.
thing, notice, one thing I want to really touch is like when you read the Bible, it's like it's not racist. It's not bigotry. Like when you look at the history of Christianity, you can go on Google and type in Christianity used for, and Google will finish off the sentence talking about slavery. You will see how that doctrine would treat others based off the complexion of their skin, you know. But you can see here the God of Israel just by spirit, not by how you look, but by spirit. It shows like we're not a shallow people, nor do we serve a shallow God.
Right.
Like we don't have an inferiority or a color complex where you start putting people down just by the way they look or by the color of their skin. It just goes to show, it's one level above that, actually 10 levels above that.
Indeed.
But yeah, you can see that those people who were Gentiles, who were common and unclean, God of Israel sent them. And if the God of Israel sends them to you, you can't just call them common and unclean. There was a reason for it. But yeah, I'll leave it to you.
Yeah. But I like that approach. And I've actually taken on that approach somewhat, what Peter does. When it comes, yes, we're going to have to do a part 2. And I would like to say some more. However, we're going to have to end. I'm getting the from the camera and the AV team, and you have been enjoying this afternoon at AIJ TV. We would like for you to join us again next week. We're going to be covering lots and lots and lots of good topics. I don't know if we'll be back next week. We'll see. But we definitely have to do a part 2 of the Bible versus Christianity. Thank you so much for joining us. Don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, and we will see you all very, very soon.
Peace.